father was a weak man.
Dune Part 3 is gearing up for an epic sci-fi showdown, possibly going head-to-head with Lucasfilm's upcoming Star Wars project. The third movie in Denis Villeneuve's planned trilogy will continue Paul Atreides' story, drawing from Frank Herbert's sequels. Not much is known about Villeneuve's plans beyond picking up where Dune 2 left off, but it's widely expected that Dune Messiah will be the primary source material. But Dune 3 isn't the only big sci-fi saga on the horizon. Even though Star Wars has wrapped up the 9-part Skywalker saga with 1977's Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope, Lucasfilm still has several films in the pipeline. After Star Wars Episode 9 The Rise of Skywalker, the focus shifted to TV series for Disney+, but Star Wars is definitely set to make a theatrical comeback soon with The Mandalorian and Grogu and Star Wars New Jedi Order in development. Although Warner Brothers hasn't confirmed it yet, the IMAX presentation hinted that Denis Villeneuve's new movie could premiere in theaters on December 18, 2026. Given the timeline, it's widely expected to be Dune 3. Villeneuve's script update for Dune 3 supports this theory, suggesting it could be released as early as 2026. However, there's still a slim chance it might not be Dune Part 3, since Dune Messiah is set 12 years after the events of Herbert's first book. Meanwhile, Lucasfilm and Disney have lined up 3 release dates for upcoming years, including December 18, 2026. One of those dates is also earmarked for a big Star Wars release. It's unclear which movie will take precedence, but it's likely one of them will have to be moved to avoid competing directly at the box office. A potential Dune vs. Star Wars showdown has been in the making for 47 years, and while a dual release could be exciting, it might end up hurting both films. The Barbie vs. Oppenheimer competition of 2023 showed that dual releases can boost box office results, but the crowded sci-fi landscape with Dune 3 and Star Wars could complicate things. With Disney and Lucasfilm not confirming which films will be attached to their 2026 dates, it's more likely that one of these projects will be pushed back. With each of the Dune stories emphasizing the danger of blind faith, Dune Part 3 is poised to be one of the most critical entries in the entire Dune canon. By the time Dune Messiah begins, Paul Atreides is not just a Messiah-like figure with a vision of the future, he's the emperor of the known universe. This power creates a religious fervor among his followers, particularly the Fremen, who advocate for a brutal war that could lead to the death of billions. With complete control over his ancestral memories and future visions, Paul seeks to prevent humanity's downfall while dodging assassination attempts from jealous royal houses. Princess Irulan, Paul's consort, is the only means of securing his throne, but she aligns against him, even attempting to prevent Chani from giving Paul an heir since Paul refuses to allow Irulan to bear his children. Each of the Dune stories builds on the message of the danger of blind faith, making Dune Part 3 one of the most pivotal parts of the Dune canon. Denis Villeneuve has made it clear that Dune Part 3 will be his final movie in the franchise. While it might seem like a director just moving on to other projects, it also highlights the complex nature of Frank Herbert's sequels. Dune Part 3 will adapt the second novel Dune Messiah, which ostensibly brings an end to Paul's storyline. However, the story continues in the third book, Children of Dune, and things get increasingly difficult to adapt for the big screen. When Book 4, God Emperor of Dune, comes around, the story shifts to Paul's son, Emperor Leto II, who has merged with the sandworms to become a colossal, seemingly immortal creature. This concept would be a hard sell for most audiences and presents significant storytelling challenges, especially given that the story involves dense philosophical themes that aren't easily translated into Hollywood blockbusters. Each successive sequel also jumps further and further into the future, making it harder for audiences to follow as thousands of years pass. Aaliyah's appearance in Dune Part 2 was brief, but her role in the future of the Dune franchise will be much more significant. She's the younger sister of Paul Atreides, conceived just before the Harkonnens' invasion of Arrakis, and it's most notable for having the collective consciousness of the Bene Gesserit housed in her young mind. Played by Anya Taylor-Joy in a flash-forward in Dune Part 2, it's likely she will return to reprise her role in the sequel, given the substantial time jump before Dune Messiah. Alia becomes a crucial figure in Dune Messiah, upholding the legacy of House Atreides in the shadows. She's involved in a secretive assassination plot that features some of the most engaging human storytelling in the book. Alia's character adds a grounded emotional depth to the narrative, driving home the book's themes of religious failure and selfishness. Without her, the story would lack some of its more intimate, personal moments. As the series progresses, Alia's importance only grows. She carries forward the torch of House Atreides into the future after the events of Dune Messiah. Paul Atreides is only a part of the series as a whole. Characters like Alia and Irulan encapsulate what's so compelling about the middle sequels of the saga. There are several significant Reverend Mothers in the Dune franchise, but Gaius is the most prevalent. She's the woman who trained Lady Jessica in the ways of the Bene Gesserit, and who tested Paul with the Gom Jabbar at the start of the first movie. Her role is to ensure the birth of the Kwisatz Haderach, a male offspring capable of drinking the water of life and surviving with their psychic powers. When Paul claims to be the Kwisatz Haderach in Dune Messiah, Gaius announces the idea, stating it's an abomination born too soon and under the wrong circumstances. In Brian Herbert's later Dune sequels, it's revealed that Paul was never the true Kwisatz Haderach. The Reverend Mother's opposition to Paul in Dune Messiah highlights her belief that he's an abomination who brought the Kwisatz Haderach too early and under improper circumstances. She views Lady Jessica's actions as selfish, disobedience of the Bene Gesserit's orders, which intended to keep the Chosen One within the Sisterhood. Stilgar, the leader of the Fremen, plays a significant role in Dune Messiah. His religious devotion to Paul as the Chosen One, Lisan al-Gaib, makes him a powerful ally in the holy war that Paul leads to secure his place on the Golden Throne. Stilgar's stewardship over Arrakis after Paul leaves highlights his commitment to the Fremen's dream of a green Arrakis, which Paul prophesied. One of the most surprising additions to the cast in Dune Messiah is Duncan Idaho, the House Atreides soldier who was killed during the Harkonnen invasion of Arrakis. Revived as a Gola, a zombie-like creature controlled by its creator, Duncan is used to carry out an assassination attempt on Paul. His return adds layers to the story, testing Paul's trust in his old friend and opening the door for a potential romantic subplot with Alia Atreides. This subplot, which plays a minor role in the original book, could be developed further in Villeneuve's next cinematic installment. The next live-action Dune adaptation is the HBO series Dune Prophecy. This prequel series ties into Villeneuve's Dune and Dune Part 2, but it's set 10,000 years earlier in the Dune timeline. Due out in November 2024, the show delves into the origins of the mysterious Bene Gesserit, the secretive and powerful order that Lady Jessica is a part of and that opposes Paul Atreides' rise. Dune Prophecy is set in Frank Herbert's Dune universe and explores the political and spiritual struggles on the desert planet Arrakis. As factions fight for control of the valuable spice melange, a prophesied hero emerges, challenging the balance of power and the galaxy's fate. The series features a mix of characters, including Valia and Tula Harkonnen, who play central roles. Valia appears in Sisterhood of Dune, but not as the main character, while Empress Natalia is a key figure in Dune Prophecy, but isn't in Sisterhood of Dune. Even though the show draws inspiration from Sisterhood of Dune, it's not a direct adaptation. It's an original story that expands the Dune universe rather than retelling an existing part of its history. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.